Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is the Hope Collective, where I use tarot and oracle cards as a focus to bring through messages from the spirit guides and higher selves of the collective using my spiritual gifts. And today I've been guided to start a pick card to get guidance from the ocean spirits. I work with a number of ocean deities and spirits as my own personal spirit guides, and I got guidance today from them to do a pick a card for guidance from the ocean spirits as a general collective, not just one specific deity or one specific set of water spirits or anything like that, but the ocean spirits as a collective. I've been getting a lot of assistance from them with emotional processing lately, the sort of tidal waves that ocean deities and spirits are really good at bringing through energetically. Being brought through by them as assistance for me with cleansing my energy body and washing stuck emotions and sort of like the dregs of stuck emotional experiences through my energy body. And something about that energy is needed by the collective, I think, after this full moon that we've been going through and after the reading I just posted yesterday, or it might be a couple days ago by the time this one gets uploaded. So they guided me to use the Tea Leaf Oracle to draw the 3 significator cards for our piles. So we have pile 1 here. Now let's shuffle more to get the others. Ocean spirits, ocean guides. Okay, we have pile 2. And shuffling more to get pile 3. Okay, so let's see what we have here today. Bread, period of prosperity and abundance. Dark man, dealings or relationship with a man with dark complexion or hair. Haystack, karma, you will reap what you have sown. So feel free to pause the video if you need to tune into which pile or piles are calling to you and have messages for you. And without further ado, I'll set aside the other 2 significator cards and we'll get into pile 1. Bread, period of prosperity and abundance. Love that for you. And which deck are we going to start with to bring through more messages for pile 1, ocean spirits? Okay, they are drawing me to the Spirit Song Tarot. That's what that deck looks like if you are interested in it. I love this deck. Ocean spirits, what messages are you wanting to bring through for pile 1 today, group 1, the bread pile? We have the 10 of Cups, blessings and well-being. I love getting the cups in this deck because it is the shells in this deck and very fitting for our ocean spirits reading. Now, this did come out in reverse, and I am being guided to read from the guidebook for this card before we move on to pulling more cards. So let's see what we have. 10 of shells in reverse. 10 of shells, pelican, blessings and well-being. And I'm being guided to read the upright meaning first. There's a shorter message for the reversed meaning. A consort of good cheer, pelican relaxes by the healing waters of abundance and warms herself beneath the invigorating light of the sun. Savoring each special moment, she takes time to enjoy what life has to offer. Loyal and social, pelican recognizes the importance of family and friends. She encourages you to embrace your inner happiness and to share in celebration with loved ones. Excuse me. Enjoy the company of those you care about and look forward to many good times ahead filled with pleasure and joy. Keywords: emotional stability, joy, harmony, blessings, well-being, peace, gatherings, communication, gratitude, and dreams coming true. The reversed message is: do not allow your uplifting energies to be blocked by someone who is causing undue stress. Take the time to step away and recharge. reversed keywords are conflict, miscommunication, arguments, and misunderstandings. The overwhelming energy coming through me in a channeled, clairsentient way from the ocean spirits while I was reading that was one of playfulness. And I think that makes a lot more sense now that I've read both meanings of the card. They also really highlighted emotional stability. There is definitely a strong message not to let any individuals or fleeting circumstances have an exaggerated effect on your emotional stability. We have this mound of flour here, and I'm getting don't make a mountain out of a molehill. We also have the pelican standing on a little mound of sand and shells here. And recognize, there's like this combination of, yes, recognize and root into your underlying emotional stability to allow yourself to root down and not be toppled over by like fleeting winds. But also this message to take an attitude of playfulness towards the disruptions, to allow yourself to kind of dance with them. That's what I'm getting. It's like these ocean breezes coming through to like dance with me and play with me and turn this into a tango instead of this drudgery or overwhelm or a threat. It's like recognize that these sort of fleeting conflicts or fleeting interactions with people who want to attack. I'm getting a couple of images. One is to see these people as like, oh, they think they're big tigers, but they're little kittens with their claws out hissing at you. And it's like, oh, aren't they just adorable? And they think they're big tigers, and they think they're being attacked in some way. So they've got their claws out, but they really are not any real threat to you. So if you are in a situation where there is more urgent unsafety to be dealt with, then either that situation is not what this reading is about, or you might find that you're drawn to another pile, because that is the energy of this reading, is not that there's actually any real blockage to this Ten of Shells, Ten of Cups energy, but that there's just some bumps in the road, and that you're being called to not allow them to undermine your actual Ten of Cups, emotional fulfillment, emotional stability, your blessings, your sense of well-being, and an inner peace and harmony. Now, some of you, it might also just be that you're encountering some minor delays in certain things that would help you. So like you might be expecting a payment and you're encountering a minor delay, and it's not actually going to, for example, maybe make you late on any bills that will have any consequences. So you're being reminded by these spirits to not let those minor delays cause major stress for you, because you know that you ultimately are going to be okay. You are going to get your payment. There's not going to be long-term harm done by the minor delay. So come back to this sort of playful attitude. And the other vision I was getting, besides the image of the kittens, for any people who might be kind of trying to throw darts at your balloons, was also in the Harry Potter series, there's these creatures called bogarts that are like these magical imps type of species that take on the form, for any individual who encounters them, they take on the form of whatever that individual fears. And so the way that the students in the school, in the wizard school, are taught to deal with and combat bogarts is to imagine whatever vision is being presented to them by the bogart as something really funny to them instead. So, for example, one of the students is really terrified of this teacher who bullies the students, and so they imagine the teacher in some of their grandmother's really funny feathered hats, and it allows them to laugh at the very thing that they're scared of, because it takes the power. Instead of your balloon being popped by the dart, the inflated sense of importance and power over others and threat or danger level that the other individual is taking on, or that the fear is taking on, gets popped by the dart, and you take your own power back, not by needing to exert power over others like that other individual or circumstance might have been trying to do, but by recognizing your power to face fears head on, to rank things correctly and accurately and respond to things appropriately and proportionately in terms of how big of a deal and how big of a threat is it really. Your ability to reframe and find humor in situations, your ability to go, actually, even though you are trying to take my power by getting a rise out of me and getting a reaction out of me, I have the power to dictate how I react to the situation and how much of a reaction I give you, and I'm not going to give you a reaction. I'm just going to say bye and walk away and internally laugh to myself about how you're just a kitten with your claws out thinking you're a big tiger. I'm going to say that the spell that they say is like a different Latin spelling of the word ridiculous when they transform the Bogarts into their, deflated versions to defeat the Bogarts. So I'm going to realize exactly how ridiculous this absurd situation is, or this person thinking they have this power over me is, or reacting to this person or this situation as a threat would actually be. It's actually really not a threat. And I'm going to find something I can laugh at about the situation, or some sort of distraction that can make me laugh so that I can soothe my nervous system and remember what a great big world outside of this small situation there is, and come back to it with fresh eyes after getting a laugh. So that's what I'm getting from the Ten of Cups reversed here, and especially in conjunction with the Bread card, period of prosperity and abundance. You really are in that period in many ways already, so appreciating what you already have is not allowing some sort of threat to go unchecked, or some sort of worry to go unhandled, some sort of problem to go untackled. Whatever problem is arising in this moment, if this is your pile, is actually really not a problem. And so assigning it its correct ranking in terms of priority or threat level is the solution, rather than trying to problem solve and fight and resist. I hope that's making sense. I'm being drawn to pull more from the Spirit Song Tarot now, so let's see what we got. They're having me shuffle this differently than I usually do today. They're having me turn the cards in different directions as I shuffle them, which is very interesting. Okay, this card wanted to come out for you. Four of Cups reversed, Four of Shells, soul searching and reevaluation. I love the peace and stillness of this egret in this card. So beautiful. And the water is also giving me this sense of stillness and peace. And that was in reverse. Yeah, it's so funny. As soon as that card came out, the ocean spirits that I've been interacting with shifted gears from that playfulness and raucous laughter and rowdiness into this peace and stillness and reflective harmony. It's like the water is calming and becoming this placid mirror so that you can see clearly. Really cool energy. I'm kind of flabbergasted by it. Let's see what the Four of Shells in this deck says. Soul searching and reevaluation. Innovative at using new approaches to solve problems, the crane is here to help you renew your optimism, bringing clarity and insight. Crane will guide you in taking the time you need to renew your energy. When you embrace something that you feel passionate about, you'll soon find yourself motivated into action. It's up to you to choose to see the opportunities that are right in front of you and to act upon them. Rest and meditation will deliver a fresh mindset. Take this time to reflect and regroup and redirect your energy. Keywords: contemplation, meditation, soul searching, reevaluation, reflection, refocus, and disillusionment. The reversed message is new ideas are at your fingertips. Seize the opportunity. And the reversed keywords are enthusiasm, restlessness, focus, and energy. Yeah, this does feel like a very natural next step from appropriately dealing with whatever bumps in the road came up with the Ten of Shells reversed. It's kind of like once you get that laughter and dance your tango and extract yourself from the attempt at these kitten claws to dig into you, that will be very unsuccessful. It's like, okay, have your laugh and then regroup in peace and stillness and get back in contact with your inner peace. And recognize that your opportunities and your abundance and your power have not at all been stolen by this bump in the road, haven't been reduced, you haven't missed out on anything. And from that place of having gotten some rest and some recovery from whatever excitement occurred, maybe even just the full moon energies might be the excitement, then it's kind of like, then you stand poised and ready to attack, kind of the way these cranes and egrets and birds like that, they stand very still in the shallow waters, poised and ready to attack when a fish or whatever type of prey they eat, a mollusk, becomes visible to them. And I'm sure different species eat different things, so I apologize for not having more knowledge about those birds. But that type of stillness and readiness and poise is being presented by the ocean spirits as like your next energy that you're just going to slide effortlessly into, from detaching yourself with playfulness and humor from the excitement and the bumps in the road, and also enjoying the proof of your own competence that you get from extracting yourself from the bumps in the road. It's like you get to kind of rest in that pride in yourself, and from there just let it go and come back into this perfect stillness. I have another spirit song card. 3 of feathers reversed, 3 of swords reversed, release and recovery. The 3 of swords being reversed reflects the passing of a period of heartbreak and you really solidly entering the period of recovery. A period of heartbreak or stress, just a very deep pain with the 3 of swords. But when it is reversed in the traditional tarot, when the card is reversed, it looks as though the swords are falling out of the heart. So that's why I say that about you really solidly entering a period of recovery. And it's such a fitting pair of keywords, release and recovery. I'm sorry, I keep on trying to straighten these. And with the moth or butterfly in this card, this moth or butterfly is completely whole and unharmed. There's no scars, there's no holes in the wings, there's no evidence that they have been pierced by the swords. So I'm seeing this as you escaping unscathed from whatever threats or bumps in the road you experienced with the 10 of Cups reversed, and flying away completely untroubled. It's very significant that the wings are just so whole and unharmed here. So radiant as well, being backlit by the sun there. And with the flowers amongst the feathers, or the feathers amongst the flowers, you see these rose-like flowers in full bloom, but this desiccated, dead flower almost rotting a little bit. And what I'm seeing is you flying away from something that has kind of past its expiration date, in the sense that you might have been recently like pouring water and fertilizer onto a plant that was already dead, like a relationship that was no longer serving you and was dragging you down a little bit. And not in the sense of like, oh, just this person was experiencing some depression or some difficulty in their life, and we're perceiving people as experiencing negative emotions, people who are experiencing negative emotions, as dragging you down or as a burden. No, that's not what I mean at all. But I mean someone who is kind of grasping or clinging onto your energy and draining you or taking from you in some way. So this is This is similar to what we were talking about with the Ten of Cups reversed in terms of taking your power back from a situation, but this is a deeper and longer term type of situation here. And not that your Ten of Cups, your emotional stability and well-being are not long term, they are. But this is reflecting the work that you've done over a long period to secure that emotional well-being and stability and harmony, that inner peace for yourself. And you fully letting it go and flying away from, walking away from these situations. What I'm getting is one specific situation though, but it may be kind of the last in a pattern that you had to learn in a few different ways to walk away from. I've certainly experienced that. I think everyone has. Maybe not everyone, but I think a lot of people have. I guess I shouldn't speak for everyone. Yeah, like that dead flower represents the last iteration of a pattern where you were, where your boundaries were not quite secure enough when you were fully in that pattern. You're not anymore. Your boundaries were not, you were not enforcing your boundaries sufficiently to protect you from people taking your energy. You continued to pour into relationships after the flowers and the plants were dead and clearly showing that they weren't going to come back to life. You tried to resuscitate them, and learned that it only takes one person to break a relationship, but it takes two to nourish it and bring it back to life and resuscitate it and revive it and keep it going and sustain it. And so you learned, okay, when the other person has already stopped putting in any effort, it's also time for me to walk away and protect my peace. And to protect with these cups energies, to protect my full cup and not pour it into something that's just going to drain and not allow me to reap any rewards, with this dead plant that's in stark contrast to the bread that you get from reaping a harvest that you've nourished carefully and milling the grain into flour and baking the bread. When people are involved in a fulfilling relationship, they get to experience the fruits of their energy that they pour into the relationship together. You experience mutual emotional support. You're both people that you can call on in times of emotional need mutually. You can call on for whatever types of support you have, a willingness to provide each other, whether that's emotional or material, whatever it is. You both allow each other to eat at your tables, with this bread metaphor. So, and you pour into each other's fields and you eat at each other's tables, and it's mutually fulfilling. And yes, that does mean sometimes supporting each other when the other one is going through a lean time. You know, they've had a drought in their field or a pestilence in their field, and you support them a little more in that time, and they do the same for you. Yeah. Hopefully that clears up sort of the difference that I was talking about between someone simply going through a difficult time as opposed to someone actually draining you or being more of a holding you back type of toxic situation. I'm being drawn to draw more from the Spirit Song Tarot rather than read from the guidebook for the Three of Swords reversed. But yes, to complete what I was saying about the Three of Swords reversed, the Three of Feathers reversed, this is speaking to a longer term, more underlying, like kind of backstory situation, and kind of what I'm getting is congratulating you on having done the difficult work and excavation and self-healing of recovering from, of releasing the pattern that was causing you to experience this Three of Swords heartbreak pain repeatedly. You've really fully released that pattern, and the ocean spirits are really wanting to congratulate you on that, because it's because of your willingness to close out, like really close the book on that chapter, that you've gotten to experience this Ten of Cups inner peace and stability, that sense of, oh, this is what it's like to really be at peace with myself and experience harmony in my internal world. This is how free I get to feel when I've actually removed the elements that were disturbing that peace from my life, like other people, like workplaces, and so on and so forth. You know, clients that weren't treating you correctly and compensating you fairly, whatever the case may be. Clients or employers who kept on trying to like negotiate your boundaries when you'd already made it very clear what your boundaries were. This type of situation, whether it's personal or professional. Definitely emotions are involved with all those cups and the Three of Swords, but we all know that professional life does sometimes trigger and involve emotions as much as we might try to pretend to be automatons and be able to be perfectly professional in every single circumstance. And maybe you do behave professionally in every single circumstance, but that doesn't change that you're a feeling, living, breathing being, and it's normal to experience emotions in workplace situations or work-triggered situations as well. I think that was coming through because some of you maybe need this reassurance that it's okay to be human. Definitely also the reassurance coming through that it's not selfish. It was not selfish to walk away from the harmful situation that you walked away from in terms of that like deeper wound, that deeper underlying pattern. It's also not selfish for you to walk away from the more like mountain out of a molehill situation we were talking about with the Ten of Cups reversed. Well, there's a different situation that's sort of like an older scar that might potentially have been triggered by the Ten of Cups reversed, more surfacey situation, and that might be why it was a little bit challenging to recognize, oh, this isn't such a deep situation. I can just walk away from this one. Haha, look how silly this is. It might have been a little difficult to zoom back out and ground yourself and recognize that, because it kind of just poked at the scar from this older situation, where someone was perhaps potentially exerting power over you, or you were potentially, if this fits for you, just take what resonates and what doesn't, but you might have been giving your power away in some way. Just the boundaries in some way were not as solid and strong as they are now. We're not being enforced as fiercely as they are now. And it's not selfish to enforce them fiercely. That's the reassurance I was trying to get at. It's not selfish to walk away from that plant that's already dead and stop watering it. You deserve to drink from that cup. You deserve to pour those resources into the fields that actually yield the harvest that will allow you to bake your bread. End of story. Sometimes it really is that simple. I just heard one of our spirit guides say. Okay. We have, oh, I love this card. This is the version of the Lovers in this deck, and in this deck they simply say love with the keywords choice and trust, and we have these two wolves frolicking together, and I just absolutely adore this card. It's the 6th major arcana, and the number 6 does correlate to Venus energy, which is perfect for the love card. And we have the moon here, which corresponds perfectly with the full moon we just had and all the water elements in this reading. Man, I just love this. This is very emblematic of the combination of self-love that you are clearly displaying with all the recovery and walking away from negative situations and enforcing your boundaries, with the real external love situations, the relationships where you, like I said, sit at each other's table, help each other with the harvest, share in each other's harvest and share in the fruits of each other's labors, as well as in each other's troubles. These wolves aren't going to leave each other behind if they're wounded. I think some of this clarification about when a relationship is really holding you back versus when it's just someone being human and needing some support and they shouldn't be abandoned for that might be coming through, because with this Three of Swords, like past relationship pattern that you're recovering from, some of you might have experienced people abandoning you in your time of need, and you're questioning whether you have done the same by leaving behind other people that were actually harming you. And these ocean spirits are really wanting to affirm for you, like, no, this is not the same. Some people who are maybe a little out of touch with reality because they're kind of stuck in their own bubble reality that is governed by their triggers and by their unhealed wounds, and they're not able to kind of soothe their nervous system and get back into touch with a more accurate, grounded sense of reality. They might try to tell you that it is the same thing, that you are hurting them, or maybe that they didn't hurt you and didn't abandon you. But you, with this group, with how far you've come, the message very much from these ocean spirits is you can trust your own sense of reality. We have choice and trust here, and a huge part of this recovery process is how you have built up your self-trust. And with all these cards in reverse, I just get the feeling that this group has been brought to this reading because you're just going through a little moment. It might not feel little to you, I don't mean to put that word on it, but just going through a moment of self-doubt. And these ocean spirits are going, hey now, like there's that playful energy still, but also that peace and that deep love. Just going, hey now, turn it back around. Stop looking at the dead flower. Stop looking at this other person or situations like projection. They're showing me like someone turning away from a projector screen that's showing like all this mess and maybe even spattered blood. Someone turning away from the projector screen and actually looking at reality, where there's actually, this sunset and this still water and these abundant plants and this beautiful moonrise and all this prosperity and abundance, all of this nourishment available. And it's like, don't subscribe to these other people's reality when you know why you left them behind, when you know why you had to sever ties. There is so much more love available to you. Some of you may have more people coming in soon, and these spirits are wanting to reassure you of that. But regardless of whether you feel like you're already abundant in friendship, or whether part of the reason for this moment of self-doubt is a moment of loneliness because you're in kind of a void stage where you haven't had the chance yet to really forge deep, mutually supportive friendships and partnerships since leaving behind this old pattern. Either way, the reality is not that projector screen that those old people or those old patterns of belief within yourself would wish to throw up. Maybe those old patterns of belief within yourself are like, oh, that type of real love would be too good to be true. It's not. It's not. And all these reversed cards are just showing like, hang on, that little old tape that's playing behind the self-doubt has got it backwards. Spin around, turn the situation on its head. You've got the power here, not those beliefs or those people that would try to undermine. You've got the power here. You've done the right thing. You've poured back into yourself. Don't let them convince you that that's backwards to pour into yourself. Don't let them convince you that real love is backwards, or that expecting to receive love as well as give is selfish. It's not. It's how love is supposed to work. It's supposed to be a two-way street. With the infinity symbol, that's how the infinity symbol works, is because the flow is going both ways. It can go on into infinity and no one gets drained. It's how it's supposed to work. Yeah, there is just the triggering of a deep wound that started to come to the surface once we kind of got past the initial messages of, hang on, nothing is really wrong at the moment. It's time to laugh at these bumps in the road. And the triggering of that deep wound then came to the surface, so I'm feeling that energy subside. I do want to read from the guidebook. I'm being guided to read from the guidebook for the Lover's card, the Love card, in the Spirit Song Tarot. I just heard you're not forgetting anything. So someone needs to hear that as well. Like, you're not... Yeah, there's this energy of those same voices of self-doubt that would have you believe real love is too good to be true are also similar to, or have overlap with, or are the exact same voices that would have you believe that you need to be worried all the time, because if you're not worried and not constantly in fear, then you're missing something, you're missing a threat. You're not forgetting anything, you're not leaving yourself open to attack or vulnerable in some way because you've forgotten to take care of something. You don't have any loose ends that you've forgotten to tie up. You're in the clear. You are clear. This is a very, very strong, emphatic message from our beloved ocean spirits and guides. They're saying, we've got your back. This pile must be quite in active connection with your emotions and or your intuition, because these ocean spirits are like, we would tell you if you were forgetting something. You would feel the nudge. You would feel the nudge from your emotions or your intuition or both. And they're saying that you would know the difference between emotions that were telling you something was really needing your attention and these emotions that are being stirred up by triggers. So that tells me, the fact that they're telling you that tells me that you have a really active relationship with your emotions and your spirit, whether through the form of emotions or through intuition or both. And that, of course, makes perfect sense with how much release and recovery work you have done to get to your 10 of shells, to get to your bread. So love, wolf, choice and trust. The fiercely loyal wolf walks through life with confidence and endurance. He brings faith and intuition to all forms of love. Communicative and affectionate, wolf trusts in the power of love and in the bonds of companionship. His primal howl is an expression of living life with passion and the desire for connection. He finds strength and unity while also maintaining his independence. Wolf lends his discipline and harmony in relationship building and decision making. He urges you to sing the song of your heart's essence. Tune into your inner voice for guidance. Through this, you will access the wisdom needed in making the best choices. Keywords: choice, trust, commitment, devotion, passion, companionship, harmony, divine connection. Reversed message: when spiritual connections are broken and communication is blocked, it's time to reevaluate choices. And the reversed keywords are reluctance to commit, stagnation, discord, confusion, miscommunication, and pressure. Yeah, with that reverse message and reverse keywords, I got a message from these ocean spirits that some of you are experiencing this period of self-doubt and we're getting this urge to turn away from the projector screen thrown up by other people because this little bump in the road that's been rocking your boat is actually someone from the past reaching back out to you, and you're being urged not to take the bait, because it is bait. It's not a genuine grounded offer like that. I'm not making any assumptions about whether this person is intentionally baiting you, but whether they're acting consciously or unconsciously does not really matter for your situation. What matters is that you are way past being lured into another repetition, another go around of this cycle. You're done with riding this sick carousel. You're done. Stay done. Stay done. And the fiercely loyal wolf that it said at the beginning, you have such companionship in spirit. I don't know, I'm not getting messages strongly about whether this group is going through a period of not having a ton of connections in other humans that you can rely on, or whether you do, but you definitely have strong guidance and companionship and love from spirit, from your spirit guides, from these ocean spirits, or whatever other water spirits you connect with. There is just such loving companionship energy coming from spirit, from these ocean spirits. So we have these two wolves here. It's I'm seeing them walking side by side and gently nudging each other companionably, the way you see two cats do that really like each other. They'll kind of come up to each other and brush against each other with their shoulders. That's what I'm getting, except with these wolves. And it's spirit coming in, nudging you and saying, hey, I'm here, I've got you. You're safe you're not in a repetition of the cycle or a repetition of the pattern. And whether it's a completely new circumstance, bump in the road that came up and triggered these old scars, or whether it is an old person who reached back out and triggered the old scars that they themselves participated in leaving on your energy or on your heart. Either way, that old reality is not your reality. It's like, what I'm getting is this sense of, you know how I was talking about the projector screen? It's like this trigger came up and the old reality, like you are in a dream, kind of erected itself around you. And you got this moment of fear of like, am I back in the same place where I was? Have I backslid? Have I gone back to square one? Or just, am I caught in this web or this trap that I was in before? And just like I was talking about deflating the balloon, deflating the inflated sense of power over others or threat that, you know, those little kittens were trying to project forward, spirit, these ocean spirits especially, but all of your spirit guides and source itself are coming through to pierce the veil of that illusion. And I'm seeing it crumbling like dust to the ground, like as if that reality, that hallucination was like created by lights being projected around you, and those lights are just dissolving into dust, and you're able to take a deep breath and see, oh, that was just an illusion. I see. A memory from the past when I was wounded by that person or that old situation was triggered. Thank you, Spirit, for helping me rescue myself from that memory. And that is not my reality anymore, thank goodness. And you should be proud of yourself for creating this new reality, this 10 of Cups reality of inner peace and well-being that you now get to come back to and root into. And bring, the way I view these memories that get triggered, energetically they work like a little piece of your psyche was stuck in that reality, stuck in that memory. And so when that memory comes up, you have the opportunity to rescue that little piece of you, or big piece of you, depending on the situation, and bring that piece of you into the present moment where it's now safe, and you get to integrate that energy into your present consciousness, and no longer have a portion of your energy sort of lost from you, lost in reliving that old situation. So you should be proud of yourself for all the release and healing and recovery you've done, and for rescuing yourself from this trigger, from this memory, from this experience that you had. And with that vision of the wolves or cats like nudging each other lovingly, it's like you and your spirit guides and source itself gently like folding that piece of yourself back in, welcoming it back into the fold of you in the present moment, and just so lovingly bringing that piece of your awareness, your psyche, your consciousness back into your heart and creating that healing experience. I hope this is making sense. I really do. I hope this is helping. Okay, they're saying we're done with the Spirit Song Tarot. What else do we want to bring through? Okay, they're wanting me to pull more tea leaf oracles. Let's shuffle, 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 and see what comes through. What else? Ocean Spirit, Spirit Guide, Source. Tap me into the collective of pile 1. What else do they need to hear? How else can we help them kind of recover their equilibrium from this situation? Bow, you are highly thought of. So I'm getting two things. One, it's like you're tying a bow on this, on the wrapping up of this past pattern and cycle and situation. Like, it's done. It's like really, truly, fully done. You know how they were saying stay but done before? It's like, not only are there no loose ends, like, put a bow on it. It's wrapped up. This cycle of karma, of toxic relationships, of being drained and settling for that and thinking that you have to overgive in order to get any love in return, or thinking that it's normal for you to give and give and give and never receive love. All of those cycles are done. And most of all, with your highly thought of, the cycle of negative self-esteem, low self-worth, and negative self-talk and self-thoughts is done. You are highly thought of by spirit, by people who've been positively affected by you. With this figure in this card, I'm getting you're highly thought of by the children in your life, which in my opinion is one of the most important good reviews you can get in life, is to have children like you, honestly. Children usually see right through a lot of stuff that adults fall for, and they care about whether you're kind. So to be highly thought of by children is a very stellar review. A very stellar reflection that you should take into account in your self-worth. And what else, Spirit? You're highly thought of. Yeah, you've ended a lot of patterns that created a draining of your self-worth. They pulled on your self-worth. They depended on you putting your worth in the validation of these people that you overgave to and didn't get much in return from. And because you've shattered that structure that those relationships and patterns depended on and taken your power back, your worth is no longer, your sense of your worth is no longer derived from those false gods I just got, those false idols. And you are recognizing, with false gods, you're recognizing the divine in yourself, the infinite worth in yourself, the piece of God that you are, the fractal of God or source or the universe that you are, and recognizing, wait a second, I would never tell the divine to settle for those crumbs. I'm a part of the divine. I also deserve exactly what I'm worth, and I'm worth real love and prosperity and abundance, mutual support. And I'm not going to, if you are someone who's in a period of more loneliness rather than having this sense of like abundant friendships and family and connections in your life right now, you're recognizing like, well, you know what, I do need people, and it does really suck to be lonely, and it's also better to not settle for crumbs. Like, I'm not going to just go accept whatever the next relationship that is offered to me is without kicking the tires first and making sure that it's actually what I want. I'm not just going to settle for whatever I get. I'm hearing beggars can't be choosers, so that might have been part of your old belief system that you have shed and are in the process of completing the shedding of. Like, actually, I can choose. We have choice in that love card. I can choose. I have free will. I don't have to settle for something. I don't have to believe something about myself just because someone else said it. They might not be right about me. They can have their reality, but I don't have to buy into it or validate it. I can be grounded in something much bigger and stronger and deeper, like this love of source. Yes, yeah, there was something in that love card that really reminded me of like believing in love as a universal cosmic divine force. God is love. Love is God. Looking through the eyes of source and looking through the eyes of love are the very same thing. And it can, in fact, be loving to walk away from negative situations. It wasn't selfish, again. The way that some people think of it is like, okay, to love something is to take it in its best interest as part of yourself. Sometimes it's loving to separate from things because, for example, if you had these wolves in the same enclosure as your cats, it might not end very well. So you can love both of them and recognize that they need to be separated. And that can go for you and someone else that you loved dearly, where, okay, they're hurting me. I did really truly love them, but I also love myself, and that means that we need to be separated. We can't be in the same enclosure. It's not good for me. It's not good for us. And surely, by the way, it's enabling them and not good for them in the long run if they're just depending on you as a supply of energy and never actually changing their life in such a way that they can depend on themselves and express real love to the people in their lives, and so on and so forth. Yeah, believe in love is something coming through really strongly. I feel like more about that might come through, but I'm getting another Thief card first. Funnel, period of frustration, lessons to be learned. So that's speaking to really everything that we talked about in the 10 of Shells, 4 of Shells, and 3 of Feathers, reversed with this temporary bump in the road at the moment. With all the karmic cycles that you've ended, like you have, Spirit is validating that you've really learned and grown a lot. And don't be frustrated with yourself for experiencing a bump in the road right now and experiencing a trigger right now. It doesn't mean that you didn't learn the lessons of the situation well enough. It's just part of the tying up the last bow on wrapping up the cycle. Apple, temptation will test you. Okay, so that's confirming that for some of you, rather than this situation being completely unrelated to the old cycle, it was a moment in which you could have chosen to repeat the old cycle. So if you haven't extracted yourself yet, this whole reading has definitely been guidance to do so. And if you have done so, good on you. And Spirit is so proud of you just for even if you, like, Spirit is not less proud of you if you haven't extracted yourself yet. Spirit is so proud of you for taking the time to consider and examine and evaluate. We had soul searching and reevaluation with the 4 of Shells reversed. Spirit is so proud of you for going inward and seeking the answers about whether this situation really had your best interests at heart. If you are in that process of figuring out, wait, am I about to say yes to something that really would hurt me? Definitely being guided to evade the temptation. Basket, recognition, reward for merit. So this goes along so beautifully with the bread. Spirit is really, really recognizing you for all of the work that you have done. Word, bread, love. There's just such pride from Spirit, from these ocean spirits, from all of your spirit guides. And yes, with this image, I'm getting like, when you aren't draining your resources into these situations, workplaces, relationships that don't give anything back, you get to pour those resources into your own fields, your own crops, your own harvest, and you get this amazing, abundant harvest. And it's not about it being a reward in the sense of, oh, you didn't deserve that abundance before. Of course you did. It's about your effort going into feeding yourself and those who mutually support you, and not emptying your basket before you ever get to eat, giving to people who are just grabbing onto your energy and draining you. Okay. And I have another one here. Broom, a new home, new attitude. Yes, yes, yes. This is sweeping out the last dust and debris and dregs and all of that from those relationships and patterns that didn't serve you. Sweeping yourself clean, like I said before, with letting the illusion of the projections of others and the projections of past belief patterns and relationship patterns, letting all those projections disintegrate into dust instead of believing that that old nightmare is still your reality. Just sweeping all of that away and letting your new attitude and your new reality spring up around you like these flowers around this house. Cleaning a house. Some of you might have belongings that either belonged to like an ex or an ex-friend, or that just remind you of them. And it's time for you to give yourself permission to get rid of them. And you'll know intuitively if you sit with a decision like that. You'll know whether it's something where you actually want to keep the belonging because, as Marie Kondo would say, it sparks joy, and you want to and can reframe your relationship with that item and make new memories and new associations with it. And there are other items where it's just not worth it. It's just not worth that effort, and it's just that reminder is just dragging you down. And regardless of whether there are those physical material remains, the remnants of like old attitudes and paradigms and worldviews, you are sweeping those out, and definitely call on the ocean spirits to help wash away all of that. Maybe even turn like a salt bath into a ritual for yourself, or if you live near a lake or an ocean where you're comfortable swimming, you could do this in nature as well. But like, as you're running a bath or as you go to this body of water, set the intention that that bath or that swim is assisting you in cleansing your energy and your spirit just completely of any last remnants of those negative self-worth and self-talk patterns, those negative thoughts about yourself especially, and also the negative relationship patterns and belief systems, paradigms, beliefs about what love is. Okay, yes, that's what's coming back through with the love reversed card and the belief in love. Okay, I knew there was something else that was going to come through about that, but I wasn't receiving it yet. Yes, these old situations from childhood, from exes, both, whatever, gave you false beliefs about what love is, what it feels like, what it looks like, whether it's supposed to hurt, whether it's supposed to make you anxious, whether it's normal to suffer and sacrifice for love. And all of that, with all these reverse cards, all of that is getting turned on its head, and it's supposed to. And you've done with, like we said before, you've done so much of that release and shedding and healing work already. But with the moment that you're in now, it might surprise you how your beliefs are starting to shed and reform as a result of that emotional and energetic healing and transformation, transmutation, the shedding and all of that. So don't cling to old beliefs out of habit or out of not realizing that it's actually normal and natural and what's supposed to happen for those beliefs and expectations and standards around love to change as a result of all that healing. It's actually supposed to change. Love is more expansive than you could possibly imagine. Love is infinite. It cannot be fully contained by the human mind or by human concepts or by words. And it is supposed to make you feel expansive and abundant and prosperous and grateful and trusting and safe. It's not supposed to require, intense sacrifice to prove your love or anything like that. It really doesn't require that type of proof at all. Like, I'm almost feeling on the edge of tears from saying that. Love does not require you to prove yourself worthy of it. Love does not require you to prove yourself, period. Love does not require you to earn it. Love requires you to show up and participate. That's what I was talking about with the two-way street before. Two people, friends, family, lovers, who show up and participate with each other, get to water each other's fields and share in each other's harvests. And you have learned to walk away from people who have stopped showing up, who were never participating, and stop giving you all their effort and trying to do the work of two people in a relationship. And it's gonna feel like a shock to the system to experience love that actually gives to you. And with this, you are highly thought of. You are not supposed to shrink back from that and say, no, I don't deserve that. I haven't earned it. Oh my God, it's making me so uncomfortable for you to compliment me or to pour into me. You're not supposed to shrink back from that. It is normal for it to feel really weird at first and really even uncomfortable, just like someone who's been frozen or numb, like thawing. Like you don't submerge yourself into super hot water when your limbs are still numb from being out in the cold, right? That's painful, that hurts you. But that slow thawing, you do have to accept and let in, and start to let in more and more and more real love until your cup is full. So you have been turning your cup up, right? And now it's time for it to be filled up. You've been sweeping out your home, and now it's time to be filled up. Welcome that in. You've been clearing out the clogs and the pipes with how that funnel is, and now you're going to have fresh, clean, pure, real love and energy flowing through. Yours and Spirit's for sure, and for a lot of you, I think you have really cleared the space for new relationships to come in. And whether you were recently tempted by like an ex or an ex-friend or anything like that, or an abusive family member or anything like that, whether you were tempted or not, you have been guided with this reading not to be tempted to repeat the cycle, in another form, in another skin, in a different person, and to really not settle and let new cycles start to spin out, where you get to enjoy love and partnership and commitment to people and things that are devoted to you right back, that pour right back into you. That is everything I have for you, Pile 1. Spirit is giving me the red light that you are complete signal, that we don't need to draw any more cards. Is there anything else that wants to come through for this Pile 1, Spirit? Just this overwhelming wave of healing, replenishing energy from these ocean spirits for you. So I hope you really let that soak in, and like I said, take a bath that is not just meant to wash away the old, but also meant to really refill you. I talked about how God and Source is love. Water is one of the closest vibrations to Source. It is the closest vibration to Source that exists in the physical after light. It's light and then water and then everything else. That's why water and light are so powerfully purifying. So let, sunlight and moonlight and water replenish you and fill you up and soothe you and calm you, as well as cleanse you. Invite Spirit, invite Source, the love of God, the love of Source, to flush through you and fill you up. Invite it in so you can start to get used to and acclimatize to this feeling of receiving love. Ask Spirit, ask Source to show you what it feels like to receive love. So thank you so much for being here. I truly wish you the best, and I'm so in awe of the work that you have done, Pile 1. Keep going. Spirit is saying, I love you so much, so I love you so much. Co-signed from me as well, but especially from Spirit and the ocean spirits and all of your spirit guides and Source itself. We love you so much. Don't forget that you deserve that real unconditional love and presence, and that you do not have to settle for anything else or anything less or anything tainted, and that you do not owe anything to anyone. You do not owe it to anyone to show up for them when it is harmful for you to show up. And you do not owe anything to this person who's trying to come back and try your patience or test your boundaries or test your willpower. You don't owe them crap, is what I'm getting from Spirit. So thank you so much for turning inward and turning away from those false beliefs and those false projections. I'm so appreciative of you doing the healing to show yourself that better is out there for you. And it is. If you are interested in a personal reading, you can find my website in the description box and in my bio. You'll also find my Instagram accounts in those places. Thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you'd like to see more from me. And feel free to comment if you'd like to share whether this has been helpful for you or how it's resonated for you. I would love to hear from you. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.